Welcome to Real Talk TV. I'm your host, Darryl Buchanan. Thank you guys for showing up for another show. I want to give a couple shout outs before we begin. I'd like to give a shout out to Colin Buford out there in Boston. He's doing the Fathers Group. The guys out there just graduated the Fathers Group. You're doing big things out there. Appreciate the work that you're doing. Salute you, my brother. I'd like to give a shout out to Greg Davenport. You showed up for me, man. You watched the show. You told me what other things that I should add. You gave me names of people to have on the show, and I appreciate that, man. You've always been a good brother, man, and I salute you, brother. I like to give a shout out to Matt Gannon, always just being who you are, brother, very humble, someone you can reach out to. I just appreciate all that you do, brother, and I just appreciate the fact that me and you got some type of friendship from coming on the show, and I just want to give a salute to you, my brother. I'd like to give a salute to those that make this show happen. Alex, Mike, Matt, and Ryan. Without you guys, this show wouldn't be popping. I appreciate you guys, man. And just thank you for all that you guys do. Tonight I have another good show. Very nice guest. Like I said, Greg Davenport reached out to me a while ago and gave me a list of names. He said, Darryl, you should have these people on the show. They're special people that are doing special things and special work. And so this woman here is one of them. I'd like to introduce Anna DuPuis to the show. Thank you for coming. Anna is an outreach coordinator for Clearhaven Recovery Center. She's also a board member of a nonprofit called Yes to Recovery, and she's also a mom and a woman in long-term recovery. Welcome to the show, Anna.
Thank you so much for having me.
Can you tell my guests just a little bit about yourself?
Well, I am a mother of 2 young kids, and I am a woman in long-term recovery. Those 2 things exist together for me. They didn't always. And today I'm a mom, and I'm also a woman in long-term recovery, and I also work in the field of addiction, and there are so many things that I could say.
That's good. Well, we're going to get to some of that. Let me just start off. Let's get right to it. What was your environment like growing up?
I lived in a house with a white picket fence that my dad built with his own 2 hands.
Wow.
My story is one of support and love with 2 parents that loved me very much. I had a younger sister, and I was very loved and supported growing up. I was a ballerina, and I was a Girl Scout, and I was going to be a National Geographic photographer or a writer. There were so many things that I honestly believed that I could be growing up because I was encouraged and told that I could do anything I wanted to do.
Wow, so this just shows that substance use disorder can affect anybody.
We
always think it comes from like the bad and single parent or the fatherless, but wow, that's deep. What type of student were you growing up in school?
I was a really good student, and I didn't have to try very hard at school. I was somebody who would procrastinate and write like a 5-page paper the night before it was due, and I started high school with all honors courses, and school came very easily to me as a kid.
Wow. So how did you get introduced to drugs? You got to come from that type of family, a good family, strong values, strong support, good in school. When did the drugs come in? What happened?
I had some friends, and my friends were trying something, and I decided to join in and try that something. And I immediately fell in love with the feeling of being taken outside of myself. And it really was as innocent and as dangerous as that.
But I'm saying, so it seemed like you came from a place, but I guess we all have issues, and I'm not saying that, but you came from a place where, was you trying to escape something?
I was just experimenting.
It was just a regular experiment.
I was just experimenting as a kid, or so I thought. I think...
You didn't know, but we don't know. You didn't know that you had this thing that we got, right?
Yeah, and I think in retrospect, I can look back, and today I can see patterns that maybe I necessarily couldn't see back then when I was a kid, that my using didn't just start with substances. My using started with relationships, with trying to feel fulfilled by seeking outside validation. So wanting to be a part of you know, feeling that maybe I wasn't and needing that validation.
Even though you came from that, you felt that there was something missing, that you wasn't good enough?
Yeah, because it's an inside job, you know, and so I can get and I can receive and I can take love and support. But if I'm not feeling that way about myself, then I'm not doing myself any good, and I'm going to try to fill that. I didn't see it as filling, though. I just thought I was having fun. You know, the filling didn't
And it is fun in the beginning, right?
It was.
It was. I mean, when you look at, a lot of people are scared to admit that, but it is fun in the beginning. You know what I mean? The nightmare doesn't come to a little bit later. Good stuff. So, but what is your drug of choice? What was your drug of choice? Mine was anything or more. How about you?
Mine also is more whatever I could get my hands on. It started small, and I ended up working my way up the ladder to the very top of that food chain.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's when so when did it become a problem? When did you realize it became a problem?
Very quickly, I realized it was a problem almost immediately because I just didn't have an off switch. You know, so my friends would be going home and I would be saying, "Where are we going? We're just getting started," you know, and faster, harder was my mantra. And it was very apparent to me that my grades dipped very quickly. I wasn't somebody who was able to hold down a promise or keep a commitment. I was really good at immediately over-promising and under-delivering in every way possible, you know, and I ended up going from all honors courses in the beginning of high school to barely graduating high school by the skin of my teeth from an alternative high school for troubled teens. Because it's just completely unmanageable when I put a substance in my body.
Yeah. And not to cut you off, but what was your family thinking as they seen this transformation?
They were looking for solutions. They were looking for that fix. What is the thing? What did we miss as parents? How did we not support our child enough? How is this happening? Yeah. And I think back then when I was going through it, there weren't as many public resources to say, hey, listen, it's okay that your child is going through this. You don't have to come from a broken home to be going through this. This can actually affect anybody and everybody.
And it does.
It does. We are hard pressed to find somebody that addiction does not affect.
You ain't lying. You ain't lying. Yeah, so you knew you knew when it became a problem. Did you get clean on your first attempt?
I did not.
You did not?
I did not. It took me so many times, and thank God we have the resources that we do. I am so grateful for detoxes. I'm so grateful for the aftercare programs that we have today because I was not somebody who was able to find recovery on my first try.
Wow.
I mean, it took me years in and out, trying, desperately wanting to change and not feeling like I could and not knowing how and just letting myself down every single time for so long.
We'll talk about it a little bit more, but do you think there was barriers to you getting clean? Or was it just maybe self-stigmatizing or?
I think if we were to really dig into like the disease of addiction, it ends up looking for me like I used without my own permission over and over again. So I have this, I don't necessarily think it was a barrier from the outside because I was able to find a detox bed. I was able to find a women's halfway house. I was able to find outside therapy, outpatient services, IOP services, family therapy.
So you had all
I had all of those services, and I was the barrier. My mind was the barrier. I just didn't believe that I could do it, and I just didn't have the will. I just didn't have the willingness. Yeah. And I had very self-defeating thinking. Yeah. I was very afraid.
Yeah, cool. So what was the bitter end like? I mean, for me, I was homeless, roamless, and domeless. On the streets of Worcester at one point, but I was messed up. I mean, wanted to die, but couldn't because I wanted another hit. But I wanted to die, but I wanted to get another hit. You know what I mean? So I was caught up. Crack was my thing. So I was caught. What was it for you?
I find that my bottom had a few trapdoors. I also experienced homelessness. You know, I went from growing up in this house to homelessness because I can't keep down a house. I can't hold down a job. I can't hold myself together when I'm active. So homelessness was one of my bottoms, but there's this trap door for me where I think it can't get any worse than sleeping inside of hallways after getting kicked out of a homeless shelter in the winter with my sneakers on, ringing all of the doorbells and waiting for somebody to let me in so that I could sleep in the hallway. I'll never forget there was a child that stepped over me
Wow.
One morning. I will never forget that. And I'll also never forget that he stepped over me as if it was nothing. Like as if he was used to this kind of situation. And I will just never forget that because it really stuck with me. But my absolute bottom came when I had my first child. And she was, I don't know, almost 2. And I just remembered feeling like I don't know how to live with substances and I don't know how to live without them.
Wow.
You know, and so it was more of an emotional place of just emptiness for me that was my bottom. I just didn't know how to exist within my own self anymore.
And so you were still active when your first child was born?
Yes, I did not find recovery until after she was born. And my children both know that I'm in recovery and they know the truth without unnecessary details about my recovery.
Yeah.
And so my oldest daughter is 17.
What's her name?
Chloe.
Shout out to Chloe. Peace.
Shout out, Chloe. Love you.
Yeah. And so you have 2?
I do have 2. Sienna is my 12-year-old.
Shout out to Sienna. Keep mom motivated.
That's right. And they do. They do.
I was going to ask you about that. So, you know, having the children in your life, I have a daughter, 35, that went through everything of mine, you know what I mean? Just went through hell. We're cool now. And my kids, they went through a little bit. When I look at how it affects them, and do you ever wonder, this is a question I always, damn, am I going to suffer what my mom suffered with my kids? You ever wonder if you pass that down or...
I do, and I try not to stay there.
Yeah.
I try so hard not to stay there, but I can. So in my motherly worrying that I do every day, you know, in one way or another, sometimes I do question, you know, what will it look like for them coming from 2 parents that have experienced active addiction? And you know what I tell myself is that there are people that break through those chains and those circles every single day. There are people that break those cycles every single day, and that my kids can be those kids.
They're going to be those kids, right?
Yeah.
If you have anything.
Yes.
All right, cool. So, so I hear you're doing big things out there. Like I said, a couple of people have hit me up, and I just want to tell you what they said, and then we'll get back to this. I just want to tell you a couple of things. I remember I was telling Matt, and I told Carrie, and I was like, yo, just accept that, right? It's good to accept that. You know what I mean?
It's so nice.
Our name was Get Out at the end, right? Get Out.
No, I know. I wasn't even allowed to use public restrooms at the end, you know? I mean, never mind
Exactly. Get out the
saying
damn
nice
McDonald's.
things.
Yeah. No, I understand.
Yeah.
So, Greg, good friend of mine, and he's a good friend of yours.
Love him.
He said, Darryl, she's an amazing woman who brings recovery to life. That's a very powerful statement. So there's people, and not judging, but we just know there's people that act the part out, and there's people that live the part out. So he's saying that you really live that. You can see that. He says she has insight that is inspiring. She's someone who, on a bad day, I can call and get set right, not by what I want to hear, but by what I need to hear, which is kind of dope and honorable, because you just don't tell people.
Right.
You won't. Don't cry.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. No, it's so beautiful. We just cry. The Kleenex stops the process.
All right, great.
We live our process.
I didn't mean that, but it is beautiful. You see someone who I can, on a bad day, I can call and get set right, not by what I hear, but by what I need to hear. And he's saying you're authentic. You know, that means you're authentic, and that's a lot, because we were faking it for so long. You know what I mean?
It's true.
That sounded nice. And he said it's from an open-minded perspective and loving and caring and the most empathetic. And I've seen that about you. Just
That's
meeting.
So nice.
She's one of the kindest souls I've ever had the pleasure of meeting on this journey. Please tell her she is my sister. I thought he said sweetie. Whenever it was his sister. So he said that about you, right? And I know he means that. I know him for a long time, right? And he's and he means that. I have another person that wanted to say something to you. And this is Liz.
Oh, Liz.
Liz says, if you know Anna, you love her. If you don't know her, you ought to get to know her.
Oh.
Right? So she's saying that you're someone that people should know. It should be an asset in people's life, which is really nice. You know what I mean? It means a lot. She's a strong woman with a heart of gold and isn't one to sugarcoat. And I think that is one of the biggest things, right? Because lies keep people locked in, And when you tell the truth, and you can be able to tell the truth to a friend no matter what, that shows a lot about your morals, your value system, how you value people, and how you value life. So that's kind of dope. I like that. Anna is a diamond in the rough when it comes to personal business and recovery-related experience, strength, and hope. Her genuine guidance and passion for helping others is an absolute blessing to our community. Anna is a force to be reckoned with and has a powerful story behind her passion on passing on the message that we do recover. Right? Thank you to Liz
so
and Gregory.
much.
Man, appreciate that. But that's kind of dope. You know what I mean? When you have people, and you're coming from where you come from, and the reason why I do that is like, I think it just serves, it's how people see us.
Thank you for that.
You know, you see how you see yourself, but how people see you. I think that is very important. You know what I mean? And appreciate you guys. Now back to this. Tell me a little bit about Clearhaven Recovery. What do you do there? Why is it important for you to be there? And tell me a little bit about the team there.
The team makes it over at Clearhaven. I'm a community outreach coordinator over at Clearhaven Recovery. They're located in Waltham.
Okay.
But the team is really something. I mean, we provide aftercare resources for people.
Out of detoxes
So typically the people that we're, and not always,
Okay.
but typically the people that we're seeing are coming from their first foray into treatment, which is typically detox.
Wow.
They can also be coming from home. They can also be working a full-time job. They can also be students because it's aftercare, it's outpatient.
Okay.
It's PHP, it's IOP. So it's something that can work on anybody's schedule.
Good.
So what they do is they round it out between clinical modalities as well as holistic, which I love. Rock climbing, I mean, you're boxing, you're growing microgreens, you're bringing fresh farm to table.
Wow.
You know, and you're also incorporating that really important therapy that you need to gain the tools in order to succeed out there. Because we can start out in detox, but what does it look like after that? What does it look like to be in recovery and to carry that out into our lives? We need tools for that.
Yeah.
So that's what the team is doing. Everybody's very cohesive there. I absolutely love them.
You love the job.
I love them.
Shout out to Clearhaven Recovery.
Come check us out. No, they're great.
Yeah, so I mean, so how long you been there?
I've been there 3 weeks
3
now.
weeks? Oh, it's a new job.
Yes.
So where was you before
It's
that?
a new opportunity.
New opportunity, obviously. But where were you?
So I've worked in a few spots.
You don't have
I've
to name them
worked
all,
in detox level of care before this because something changed for me in 2019 where I decided it was really important to enter this field and work in the substance use disorder arena.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
So that's where I got my start, detox level of care, helping people find treatment. And I still help people find detox level of care.
And you do that even outside of work, right?
This is what we do. This is what we do. What does it look like to help somebody? You help them however you can, whatever that looks like.
That's dope, yeah. Clearhaven Recovery's in
Waltham,
Mass. I mean, look them up. It'll be at the end of the show if she doesn't mind that we can put it up and direct people there. Sure. All right, so another thing, you're a board member of Yes to Recovery. Can we talk a little bit about what is that?
Yes to Recovery.
What does it mean?
Oh, it's a fairly new nonprofit. We formed about a year ago, and we are committed to helping the local community in Worcester, Massachusetts. So the board is comprised of members of Worcester in various capacities. And
firemen or whatever. I mean, I'm not saying, but
we've got like the school director. We've got a professor. We've got all
very
kinds
diverse,
of people.
right?
It is.
Yeah, it's good. So what do you guys do?
So we hold fundraisers and bocce tournaments and pasta dinners, delicious pasta dinners. Come check those out; they're delicious. And we put on a walk every September to show that recovery works, to show the community. We invite the community. We're always doing something, but with the funds that we receive, we like to give back to organizations in Worcester. So Jeremiah's Inn is a spot. Yep. The Dismiss House.
Know that spot.
Yep. Faith House. So all of these places that help other people get on their feet, we think it's really important to support them. You know, like a Dismiss House is supporting re-entry, from correctional facilities, and you've got Jeremiah's Inn for men, you've got Faith House for women. There's so many organizations in Worcester that need the help, so that's where we're really passionate about giving back.
All right, cool. So people can donate to them?
Yes.
All right, so we can put that up.
Yes.
All right, so we'll do that information. Now, information will be up to Years to Recovery. You guys check it out and do what you can, help out. You know what I mean? Tell me, why are you so passionate about helping others? I mean, I'm gonna let you say it. I'm not gonna even tell you.
It's somebody helped me. I'm passionate about recovery because I'm a product of somebody else's help when I was seeking recovery. I'm passionate about recovery because I know that it's possible and I know that it works. And I think it's so important that we show that not only can we recover, but that we can thrive.
Thrive.
Yes.
That's the beautiful thing, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, I think what really drove me to really wanting to help others, because I was anonymous for the first 12 years of my recovery.
Wow.
I just celebrated 16 years of recovery.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
I think that it's so important that after 12 years of recovery, nobody knew, because I kept my two lives so separate. I was working in corporate America and I was handling my recovery anonymously, and I felt really good about where things were.
Wow.
And I had this moment, this event that happened where I lost the love of my life, who was also in recovery to a fatal overdose. And that did something to me that I could not shut off anymore. This voice that was like, you have to show people
Come to your truth.
that we recover.
Yeah.
You have to help other people so that this doesn't continue to happen, because we are losing people so rapidly now that it's that important.
We are. It's
It
big.
is that important that we recover loudly today. So
That's pretty cool. So can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So why do you think, were you ashamed still? I mean, why was you hiding for those? I mean, was there some stuff that you needed to work out?
Stigma is
Oh,
very
because you was
real.
in a corporate, you felt if that
Very
people knew.
real. I felt like if people knew that it would not benefit me at all whatsoever professionally, and I had worked very, very hard to pull myself out of homelessness, to be able to show up for my life, for my children, to work for housing, to go through the system of welfare, to food stamps, to subsidized housing, to Section 8, you know, and on and on. And I'd worked so hard that I felt like I could not jeopardize that. I felt like I couldn't have anybody have an opinion about who I used to be.
Wow.
You know?
Was there a little bit, just a tiny bit, that you felt like you just wanted to leave it behind?
Yes.
You didn't want to be,
Yes.
you didn't want to pop. Yeah.
Forward thinking, we're moving forward now. You know, we're not going back anymore, we're just moving forward. But that can get dangerous, you know.
It is dangerous.
Yeah, that can help me forget where I came from.
Yeah.
Not that I need to sit in it, not that I need to marinate in that, but it's important that I remember where I came from so that I don't backtrack back there.
Most definitely, and that's one of the those little avenues that the disease will use in the long term. Make you that built-in forgetter, let you forget, that you can separate from it. Yeah. What is the most important thing that you do every day? Like on an every day for your recovery. That's one thing that you definitely do.
I wake up and I talk to my higher power. As part of my own recovery, everybody's different, and as a part of my process, I really had to come to a realization that I am not the biggest thing in my life, and that there's got to be something out there that's bigger than me.
Most definitely.
And because I keep it there, and because I start out my morning essentially having a dialogue with something greater than myself, it allows me to calm myself, set my intention for the day, and move out of my own way.
Got you. Let me ask. So the spiritual part is the foundation for you.
It's huge for me.
All right. So another question. You know, I like dealing with a little bit of the stigma. You know, during the show, let people kind of like give some information on that. So I want to ask you a question. Is this a disease or a choice in your experience?
In my experience, this is a deadly disease. This is not, it's not a choice. I'm not making a choice when I am using against my will, crying because I don't want to. And I think it's really important that, and that's part of the stigma where we really have to work very hard to shift the perception that not only is this a disease, this is a deadly disease. This is a progressive, incurable, and fatal disease, and it needs aggressive treatment.
Okay.
Like, key word with aggressive. Like, this is life and death right now.
It is.
Yeah.
And I think people don't understand that. I think, or become desensitized to us, or there's just a lot of people not compassionate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What are your thoughts about all paths, right? When we first started, well, we talked about this. I couldn't even go into a certain meeting, and when I speak, it's like, oh, your meeting's somewhere else. Like, I don't, you know what I mean? So there's become this movement that I've noticed, speaking to people and having people, that the evolution, not only of the disease, but evolution of recovery. People are changing the way that we see it, and allowing people to kind of like make their own decisions, instead of just, you got to follow this or you got to follow it. And if you don't, then you're not in recovery, or you're not going to. What do you think about all paths?
I think, thank goodness we have them. Honestly, I think that we would be losing out on a vast number of people even attempting to find recovery if it was the way that it was way back when there were only one or two ways of doing things. I think because there are so many paths, somebody who might not feel like they fit in with this way or this way might look at that way and be like, you know what? Maybe I'll give recovery a shot. Maybe this is for me. Maybe I am worth it, and maybe I can do this. I've seen a lot of people be supported and live long, healthy, vivacious lives being on whatever path they're on.
Usually people should create their own path, or someone should.
I think, honestly, there are so many paths that I don't have an opinion on a specific one.
No, yeah, but you you saying that people should have the right to choose whatever they want.
I do.
Whatever works for them.
I
believe
think it's
that
important. And I think people are seeing success.
And I think the whole movement is definitely going in that direction, where people are becoming more acceptable, like on other levels. I wanted to talk a little bit about the stigma, but I think let's talk a little bit about the stigma.
Yeah.
I had some people on the show out of Spectrum, some of the people that I look up to. I also have one person coming on next week who I look up, a woman. And they're talking about changing the language, right? I remember on the show I was talking about addiction. I was saying relapse, and I get home and I get these, Darryl, you can't say that. You should stop saying that on your show, right? I'm like, what do you mean, right? So they educated me, like, a relapse is a return to use, right? And we talk substance use disorder. What do you think about the language? Do you think by changing the language, we move from a place of powerlessness to empowering people?
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Very much so. I've worked very hard to try to shift my own language, because I was somebody who would identify as an addict. I would talk about relapsing. I've used the word junkie before to describe myself, not even understanding that those are very negative words to the population just because they are. So rather than trying to shift their idea of what a word means, I could simply use a more empowering word that's more inclusive, that's about building us up and not tearing us down. So now when I introduce myself, I'm Anna, I'm a woman in long-term recovery.
Cool.
Instead of I'm Anna, I'm a junkie, or Anna, I'm an addict.
I'm an addict.
And it's a recurrence, not a relapse anymore.
Yeah.
That's one of the ways that we can break stigma. If we want to look at things that we can do today to break stigma, that's one of them, changing our language. And I think something else that we can do is we can be encouraging and educating. That's what it's all about. We have this responsibility to educate people that this is a disease. And I also think that another way that we can help address stigma is that people who are in recovery can recover out loud. There is such power in showing that, because you're showing that people in recovery are your surgeons, your attorneys, your lawyers, your kindergarten teacher. We are everywhere. There are so many of us out there in recovery.
All over the place, you're right. Let me ask you, so speaking on the stigma, what barriers do you think that, what barriers are up because of the stigma? I mean, people trying to get treatment, but I also think families and the public that may not know what this is. Can you talk a little bit about that, like the barriers that you think are there?
I think that from what I've seen, a lot of families like to keep a problem in a family. And so even if the education has we have to be able to get to the families in order to help them understand that it's not a moral failing. You know, if you have a family member that's struggling, and it's okay to reach out and ask for help, and that you don't have to keep it behind closed doors, you know, and that there is privacy in finding treatment to begin with. I think that's really important to address. Barriers include just people being really closed-minded and not understanding that we are your accountant.
Do you think we are the ones
insurance
that,
agent.
well, we teach people how to treat us, so obviously.
We're still learning.
Yeah.
As a group of people, we're still learning how to change our own language. We're still learning what it looks like to recover, to be productive members of society. We're growing and changing and evolving continuously. So do we have some responsibility in that? Yeah. I think we're making amazing progress with it, though.
Okay, and they said, so the person I was talking to, they're like, yeah, Darryl, it's going to take time, but you're right, you just keep putting forward the language.
Ripple effect.
Yeah, it takes time. It takes time to change, especially the old guard really don't want things. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, we're going to keep it,
don't
change.
We don't like change.
Nobody likes change.
Yeah.
It's kind of, what motivates you, Anna? What motivates you to get up? What, in the morning, you get up and what just motivates you?
My children motivate me every day, every moment of every day.
It's not the fact that you can look in the mirror now and like yourself.
And I love myself. That works into it too. No,
remember that
that's
at the
really
end?
important to say. Actually, that's really important that you said that, because part of what happens today when I wake up is I don't wake up hating myself.
Yeah.
I wake up excited to start my day. I work in a field that doesn't feel like work because my job is to help people. I wake up excited about that. I'm still charged over it. I'm not jaded. This is exciting to me still.
They said you don't help people. They told me you love people.
I do. I do love everybody.
Yeah, but doesn't it, when we first go into recovery, they tell us and they try to make us fall in love with a person that we hate. Isn't you think that's kind of?
There's grace and forgiveness.
I hated
there.
it. I hated
There's
myself,
such
man.
grace there. It's a beautiful thing.
And your kids, you said, all right. I heard that you're a writer.
Did you?
No, I'm a writer. I'm
right.
a published author.
Yeah.
I have books and stuff. That's like my number one.
Get
dream.
Darryl's book.
Yeah, well, I'll give you a face. But what do you like writing? What do you like? True fantasy, or what is it?
I would honestly call them musings. Whatever is hitting my spirit, I love.
Is it poetry or just literature?
I don't know if it's poetry or if it's just a thought that I've written out in detail, but I love the freedom that comes with writing. It's very cathartic to me.
What does that mean?
It makes it
therapeutic?
it's like therapeutic. It makes me feel so much better.
It does. No, I
Yeah.
get it. I understand that 100%. All right, let me ask you another question. On your post, you said, I trolled a little bit.
Okay.
And then,
That's okay.
and
We're
it says,
friends.
there is no place like hope. What does that really mean? I mean, when I read it, I said, wow, that's kind of dope. But I wanted to what does it really mean?
It's the light in the darkness. It's the thing that shines through like the fissures in our spirit and in our soul. It is the thing that helps us find recovery, love, light, a feeling of belonging. It is the beginning of everything.
You think that's we can find there's a difference between being a human being and being human?
I feel
There's a lot of human beings that are not being human.
Yes.
Right? The hope thing, yeah. Without hope, we'd be in trouble, right?
It's so true.
Who inspires you? What women you look up to, or what men do you look up to?
So both. Thank you for mentioning like men too, because I take something from everybody that I meet. My kids are the first sources of inspiration.
Right.
I mean, everything I do, they
You love your
make
kids.
me.
I mean, you should love your kids.
I
but
love
yeah.
them. I mean, they're the first ones. But I recently lost. Last week I went to a service for one of my very dear friends, Lynn Hall. Lynn Hall, absolutely love and adore. She was a pillar of the community when I first came into recovery, all the way up through her services. She was a woman who taught me. She used to say things like, if you wanted it sugar-coated, you should have gotten a donut, honey. I mean, she taught me.
She was real, right?
She showed me, she taught me, she lived it. I could absorb her like a sponge in her message. She showed me what it looked like.
So you wasn't afraid of the real stuff?
She wasn't afraid. I really appreciate anybody. I could name so many people. Anybody who walks a walk, because I feel like anybody can say beautiful things.
Yeah.
But what does it look like? How do you live? How do you move? What does integrity mean?
Yeah.
Show me.
Yeah, I was just listening to a tape this morning. It was NA convention speaker named Melvin. I don't know if have you ever listened to him?
No, I don't.
If you get a chance to
I
listen
have.
to it, go on YouTube.
Okay.
NA speaker Melvin. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
His messages, I've heard a lot of messages. Unbelievable. And that's when he talked about the morals and the values, and we have to know our true worth, true value, so people can respect our worth. You know what I mean? Just something that you were saying, you should, when you get a chance, check that out.
Melvin.
Yeah, but YouTube, NA speaker Melvin, it'll blow your mind.
Okay.
He just talks about the whole thing.
Okay.
All right, so do you think that women in recovery are overlooked? Meaning that they're not present, because I'm not saying, but I think most of the time the faces that we see are mostly male, right? Do you think you're overlooked?
No, actually,
Okay.
I don't. I think my first thought that came to mind is that that we as women, I don't need a spotlight. I don't need it. You know, maybe we just don't need spotlights. Not trying to say anything about men needing spotlight, but I'm just saying I think
Maybe I said that wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, the woman should be. There should be more women pushed out there to attract more women.
We need women.
To empower more women.
We absolutely need women. We need women at the front lines. We need women showing up and saying, like, mothers belong in recovery too. You can do this too. When I came in, I remember feeling very small because I was a mom of a child, and I felt a lot of shame surrounding that. Trying to find recovery as a mother. What does that look like? And it took mothers being strong and showing me, you belong here. You are a part of us. Women with children recover too. It was really important for me to see that. It was important for women to come forward and tell me and show me, this is how you leave a toxic relationship. This is how you do that. Let us show you. Women, when they come forward and they're a part of, can do anything.
Yeah.
I
I believe that voice is just
we're
as powerful.
the fabric of everything. We can.
Well, if there wasn't a woman, I wouldn't be here.
That's right. That's right. That's right, Darryl.
You know what I mean,
Come
lady?
on. Yeah.
So yeah, and then there's also a group that I think they're coming in 3 weeks. Miracle Moms. Have you heard of Miracle Moms?
No, but I need to know all about
Out of
them.
Worcester. Out of Worcester. Well, yeah. Look up Miracle Moms.
Okay.
Kirsten, I don't want to blow her name up.
Yeah.
But yeah, Miracle Moms. There's a group in Worcester, and I'm sure these two ladies can. Yeah.
I'll check it out.
You can help. Yeah. All right. So the progressiveness of the disease is real,
It is.
but the progressiveness of recovery is real too, right? Homeless to homeowner. Talk about that.
Yes. Yes.
What was the process like? What do you? Did you, just how do you feel about it? Just tell me anything about that.
Okay, so today, I know that before I used to sleep in a hallway, right? Today, I have 3 hallways I could sleep in.
You got 3 homes?
But I don't. No, 3 hallways inside my home.
Oh, I was going to say you got 3.
That I could sleep in.
Progressive.
But I don't. I sleep in a bed that I paid for, in a house that I own. And so what that looks like, because everything to me is, what does that look like? The journey looks like I crawled and scraped to find recovery, and I got onto the system. Thank God for the system, So from welfare to food stamps, to subsidized housing in an apartment project, to Section 8 after however many years you have to wait for that, till getting kicked off of Section 8 because I was now a productive member of society and I no longer fit in the guidelines, to renting an apartment.
That's good and bad, right?
To looking into my options as a first-time home buyer, to being walked through the process as somebody who qualified.
Did somebody in recovery walk you through the process?
No, somebody, my mortgage broker.
Okay,
there's
I got you.
people from all, but I was connected to my mortgage broker by somebody I knew in recovery because we know people everywhere because we are everywhere,
Yeah.
And I remember feeling like I didn't want to tell my kids, so I didn't, because just in case it didn't work
happen.
out, because I still have this fear, of, am I a fraud? Is this real? Do I deserve this? you know, a home. I was homeless. It gets me emotional even now.
No,
I kept it from the kids. I didn't tell them. I got the keys in my hand and I drove to the house and I opened the door and I cried.
Yeah.
I cried. It was so overwhelming.
Yeah.
And then I went and I got the kids and I said,
Tissues, please.
I said, do you guys want to go get some lunch? And they were like, no, I'm okay. And I was like,
in our own house?
I was like, you know, I'm trying to get them over there so I can show them we have a house. They're like, no, I'm okay. I'm like, no, you really want to go to lunch? Come on, let's go.
Yeah.
And I got them over there, and I have a video, and they screamed. They were so ecstatic.
Congratulations.
They were just so ecstatic.
Congratulations. And that just shows, I mean, you're right. We can change and we can still dream and and it's never too late to have things.
It's never too late.
And that inspires me because that's where I'm trying to head.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I appreciate that. So you got your own home and
yeah. I even have to call a plumber myself and then mow my own lawn and
you do
figure it all out. And you know, I forgot to fill the oil tank one time, and you know, we figure stuff out. We get it done. We figure it out.
But how did it?
The gifts.
Was it
gift
to the kids when they seen it and knowing that they don't really know about the whole struggle. But where you've been, right?
But they know the struggle of being a kid who has moved multiple times from apartment to apartment.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I broke my first lease because a bullet went through the bottom window, you know, of my apartment complex. So
they've been through it. So
yeah,
I got you.
They've been through some
they
stuff.
Guys felt the
so
residue.
they were grateful. They were grateful.
I bet you guys are having fun in that house.
Yeah, and then we added a dog like 2 days later. Never had a dog before.
What is your dog's name?
Luna.
Luna? Tuna?
Luna.
Shout out to Luna. Don't bite me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
In your opinion, I just get up. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
That's really a big deal.
Thanks.
And for people that just don't think recovery works and that it works in a big way, and it depends on you, think about it. Homeless to homeowner. That's a good title for a book.
It is.
Story. So think about it.
I'm thinking about it.
What is in your opinion? What is the connection with substance use disorder and mental health? I mean, to be honest with you, I didn't know I had a substance use disorder, but I knew I was crazy, or at least I thought I was crazy.
I think they're synonymous. I think they're synonymous. I think they go hand in hand. I was in therapy for years and years, and before I struggled with substance use disorder, we talked about me struggling with sense of worth, and so you know, part of my story includes being diagnosed with depression, being diagnosed with bipolar disorder. It involves, you know, self-mutilation when I was a teenager. It involves like mental health and substance use disorder, in my experience, have gone hand in hand. You know, the struggle is very real on different fronts, for sure.
And so how do you heal? What was the healing process like?
The healing process,
I know it's continuous, but I'm just saying,
to
get to a place right now where you're basically at a place of good health with yourself.
It's like a trifecta of things. So therapy was really important, treatment was really important, family support was really important for me. So that's what it looked like for me.
So therapy wasn't a place where if I go, people know I'm crazy, so you...
Therapy for me has been something that I've seen as a solution for my entire life. I never attached stigma to that because I also know so many people that go to therapy. I think therapy is good for everybody.
No, I go together. I mean, I admit that.
Yeah.
I've been in it for 3 years now.
Yeah,
So I admit it.
Like anybody could improve as a person. Couldn't we always improve our view of the world or our view of self or want to expand? I know that I always want to grow. Yeah. And so what does it look like to recover and go through therapy and expand as a human?
Good.
Yeah.
All right, so thank you for everything. Thanks for you coming, but here's the moment where I want to give you, do you have anything else that you want to add before we do this? Just anything else you might want to say?
I just want to thank you so much
thank you.
for having me on. It's just,
you can come again anytime.
It's been a pleasure talking with you.
It's not bad, right?
Yeah, no, this has been fun.
Yeah, it is fun.
Yeah.
And then you can come anytime, you know, if you know
Thank
people that you can reach out to me. And
I know lots of people
that
calling
let them
you.
know, hey, come to D's show. It's not really bad. You know?
Oh, it's great.
But what I like to do, Anna, is give you time to, the cameras there, to really give a message. You can say whatever you need to say. If there's maybe a family that's struggling and don't know what to do, or somebody might be out there struggling. I mean, whatever you want. This is your time. Take as much time as you need. And,
Thank you.
And do what you got to do.
What do I want to say? I want to say that that even though this is it's a deadly, fatal disease that we are working with out here, the treatment that we are providing, it's real and it's working and it's helping people. I mean, I want to tell you that people are recovering, and not only are people recovering, but they are thriving in their lives. We are out here doing things. We're doing things to help smash stigma. We're doing things to help other people. The field that I work in is constantly trying to see how we can help the next person into the next right space for them, whether it's detox, whether it's outpatient, whether it's therapy. I work for an aftercare place. My whole job is to try to invite people into the next phase of their recovery. If you or somebody that you know is struggling, you can always reach out to me. I can be reached online through Facebook. I can be reached by phone. My phone number is 978-870-5292. You can call or text me anytime, and I mean it. I mean it. I might sleep through it if you text me at like 1:45, but you know, what I really want to let you know is that we really are working with a huge polarization right now, where we're dealing with a life and death situation right now, but you need to know that there are a bunch of us out here working as hard as we possibly can to shift the stigma, to help as many people as possible, and recovery is working, and it can work for you too, and your family members who are struggling. Thank you so much for having me.
Anytime, man.
We
I
do
appreciate
recover.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here. I mean, you're a great guest, and I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, guys, you hear that. Yeah, recovery is real. It does work. I'd like to thank Anna. I'd like to thank Clearhaven Recovery for having her. Yes to recovery. Sienna and
Chloe.
And what's the daughter's name?
Luna.
Peace to you guys, man. Your mom's a big deal. I appreciate everybody that comes to watch the show, share it, subscribe to the channel, get your friends to subscribe. And as always, in closing, I just want to say I love you to my daughter Taisha, Zayla, and little Darryl. Peace.